Welcome back to a special episode of In the Courts. Ryan Carter was an Air Force reservist when he was paralyzed during back surgery at Walter Reed Hospital in 2018. Unlike most other Americans who can sue doctors and hospitals for medical malpractice, members of the military cannot sue a military healthcare provider. And that's because of a 1950 Supreme Court decision, Feres v. United States. That bars service members from collecting civil damages for injuries that they get on the job. Now, Carter, alongside his wife Casey, are asking the Supreme Court to overturn the Feres Doctrine. Justice Clarence Thomas has suggested it may be time to bid it farewell, but Carter's going to need 4 justices to agree to take up the case. I sat down with the Carters to hear their story. Take a listen.
Ryan and Casey, thank you both so much for joining us here on In the Courts. Can we start with just your story? Ryan, what happened to you?
Okay, so basically, I had a spinal cord injury, and I didn't know about the spinal cord injury until
Keep going.
I didn't know about the injury until 2014, and with some tests, they figured out I had severe spinal stenosis in my neck, and my surgery was in 2018, and they when I walked into the operation room, and I couldn't walk out at the end.
You had your surgery at Walter Reed, just up the street, right?
Yes.
And so now that tragedy has happened to you and your whole family, you have taken to court to try to get something out of it, and all the way up to the Supreme Court. What are you asking the court for here?
I'm asking for the court to recognize all the service members, all the people that's been injured through the military, to be acknowledged and compensated correctly.
Or the ability to sue the doctor so that it's on record, so other people that are researching physicians or surgeons can see that, yeah, he did cause somebody to be a quadriplegic, as well as hold the hospital responsible too.
Let me ask you this, because a lot of people don't know about this doctrine outside the military, and I'm betting even inside the military. Did you know about this when you walked into that hospital room, or when you signed up to serve?
No.
And how do you feel about that, knowing that you're one of the few people employed in this country that can't sue their employer, and you put your life on the line?
There's a lot it's a lot of that's coupled on, but I feel that I just wasn't informed correctly about what the risks were, especially with the person that was going to do the surgery.
It made us angry and upset that no one's being held accountable. I mean, we're living our lives and we've come to the acceptance of what this is our life now, but at the time, we were pretty upset.
What is your life now?
We maintain, we
had just bought a house in Baltimore 4 months prior to a surgery, our first house, and he was paralyzed during the surgery. He was no longer able to come back to our home, and he stayed in 2 facilities for 3 years out of state, one in Richmond, Virginia, and another in Denver, Colorado. So we were separated for 3 years. He was never allowed to come back to Baltimore due to the weather and the cold with his condition. So we are now down in Florida, where there's a VA that has a spinal cord unit. And so we were away from all of our family, friends, all that we've known. We both grew up and lived in Baltimore. So we have
just finally, you're asking the court to hear your case that takes 4 justices to agree to hear your case. You've got at least one. Justice Thomas has indicated that he's interested in overturning this doctrine, as did Justice Scalia. Do you think that you can get to 4? Are you hopeful?
Well, with those 2, yes, on board. I feel very hopeful that one day that they'll come to agreement that we need to take care of our service members, especially ones that have served our country and defended it.
Well, Ryan, thank you for your service. And Casey, you too, the families serve right alongside the members. And thank you for sharing your story with us.
The Supreme Court is unlikely to decide whether they will hear Ryan's case until the fall.